David Savage, aka Diz, and this is The Force Always.
Okay, so welcome to the show. Let's get on with the Star Wars news. First up, later on in the show, in the review section, I will be reviewing the Disney Gallery on The Mandalorian. There's been 2 episodes since I spoke to you last. The first one was called Directing, the second one was called Legacy. Those 2 will be reviewed later on in the show in the review section. Speaking of which, that is the news this week, that Disney Galleria, it's called Galleria, Disney Gallery on Disney Plus. It's on The Mandalorian, sort of, I think it's an 8-part behind-the-scenes series. Really good to check out right now, something new on Disney Plus. If you've got that, so check that out. To more news, speaking of Disney Plus, the final episode aired of the Clone Wars, and it was, it's been reviewed. It's been just about a week since it's been last. There's been a lot of discussion of why, when, how, things like that, but that's another piece of news. To more news, just to let you know, here in Australia, a particular retail outlet here, is selling the Skywalker Saga DVD, Blu-ray, whatever you want to say, special edition. It is in limited supply. Obviously, it's a massive pack. If you do want to get your hands on that, just go out there now and get it. It could be worthwhile. Maybe they won't continue it and it could stay the same or never change again. I don't know, but it's a nice little neat pack at the particular retail outlet that you may know of here in Australia. To more news, Taika Waititi, I always get his name wrong, Taika Waititi, which is a neighbouring country here, New Zealand, that's where he's from. Taika Waititi, who did the Thor movie of recent, and he's directed a couple of episodes in the first seasons of The Mandalorian. Has now been announced officially that he will be writing and directing, along with the 1917, I think, director or writer, that is, for the next particular movie that's going to come out, scheduled for 2022 at this stage. If that's a connecting series or a one-off, we don't know as yet, but Taika Waititi will be doing the next Star Wars film, co-writing and directing that particular film. So that's some news there. That's pretty much the news for this time around. Let's get now into the views. Views is my story ideas rather than predictions, rather than what one gets on a YouTube channel. Don't worry, again, I'm still here rocking on. But my view this time around is, what type of movie would I like to see the story idea of the new Taika Waititi film that's going to be 2022. I've discussed before what I think should happen in an actual movie and story idea. Like, I think it should be each of the 3 characters as one movie each, 2022, 2024, 2026. The first one starting off to be Finn, the second one Poe, and the third Rey. That's the character names, as a separate movie leading into the next saga, which would be episode 10, which I'm praying and hoping and wishing that it will be 2027, as that will be the 50th anniversary. But that's another story. What type of story would I like? I really think with the talents of Taika Waititi, that it should be a real mishmash of great visual creativity and sound, not to be so traditional Star Wars story. Have tradition there, but keep it, really sort of fresh and for now. Keep certain structures in there, like as the title sort of comes through, maybe in a variation of it, but sort of pretty close to what it was. And but really stretching out with creativity in the actual storytelling. That's the type of story that I'd like to see him do. That's what I'd request as a story idea to him. If he ever sees this, I don't know, but that's what I think. And look, one thing that I really love to this day, his character in Thor. My goodness, that when his voice came through with that sort of large character in the actual film, it just makes me laugh all the time. My goodness, just how he pulls it off. It was great. I wasn't a big Jojo Rabbit fan. I thought it was good, but I just didn't think it was as great as everyone was going on about. But there's definitely great highlights in it. But I thought it was good. Anyway, so that's what I'd like to see that film do with the being helmed by Taika Waititi. I'd just like to have him really stretch creativity, almost sort of like the cartoon sort of Spider-Man movie that we got recently. I thought that was really well done. It's going to scare off some people, that style, but it will, I think, really bring in new people, and I think it will keep Star Wars fresh, and I think it will be something that we are really craving for. But Star Wars is about real structure, and I think there's got to be a way of having the structure there. Not so much like the spin-off films so far, but something a bit closer to the structure, like having a crawl that's a text crawl at the start, things like that. But I definitely think he should just go full on throttle with his own creative juices and really give us something that's creative, just visually, I don't know, just something just creative, really cutting edge, almost abstract, if you were to say. Anyway, that's my sort of story idea to another storyteller as a story idea. But anyway, that's the views for this time around. Let's get into the reviews. Reviews is about the Disney Plus series on the Mandalorian behind the scenes. The first one directing, definitely a great start. Straight off the bat, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It was the only problem with these things that I'm finding that lots of people, all of us can relate to growing up with Star Wars as a kid, but I've heard this so many times from so many people, it just keeps going on. But to get the perspective of each director in that particular episode 1 directing, which I gave 8 out of 10, you sort of get to sort of feel and see what they're more about. Filoni was definitely someone, exactly what I thought. Favreau had that sort of feel as well. I thought the Chow, Mrs. Chow was very, strong, and just as a collective, it was a really good idea. And the round table sort of gave me reminiscent ideas to actually when they did that big sort of reading of The Force Awakens, that black and white photo, but as a particular episode. So it was very interesting to see. The actual episode was well done. It had some interesting. I didn't feel like it was dragging, but 8 out of 10. But the second episode, I'd give it about 7.5 out of 10. That's the one of Legacy. Personally, I thought it was a bit more rambling on about being a kid, growing up with Star Wars. I think that was a little bit rambling on there. But I did find Dave Filoni the standout in this. His insight, he's got a lot there to give. He's just very well in sync and in tune with the Star Wars universe and George Lucas, and it was very impressive. He's just very, very intricate in his detail and conversation. That was definitely what really pulled that episode in. 7.5 out of 10 for that one. So at the moment, it's airing on Fridays here in Australia about 6 p.m. on Disney Plus. The Mandalorian behind the scenes Disney Plus series called Gallery. It's a little bit confusing with all these names, but anyway, that's the only thing that maybe is putting it down a little. But that's my review for this time around. Let's get into the interviews. Interviews is 2Q, as 2 questions we'll ask myself for you guys out there. First question is, do I think Taika Waititi is the best choice for director for the next Star Wars film? And I'm going to go straight off the bat and say yes. He's probably right now the perfect director, as he has the attitude, he has a real strong enthusiasm, and he really does push things to a cutting edge, in storytelling, story ideas, even creative just angles and sound qualities and things like that in his directing that I've got to know so far. And I thought the Mandalorian episodes with him directing it were really well done, especially the last episode, season 1. That was very good. That was probably my favourite one of the lot in that season 1, the last episode. And I think he's the perfect choice. That's the answer to that question. Second question, what director would I still like to see, or would I like to see for the next Star Wars film after that? I would like to see, for the second one, I think the second one would be good if it was, and it would be second and number 2 and 3. At this stage, we've got Taika Waititi as the first one. 2 and 3, that's the movie 2 and movie 3, which will be released in 2024 and then 2026. If you can ever get on some sort of budget level, the Russo brothers executing number 2 and number 3, that's the movie number 2, number 3 for the next trilogy. I would like to see that. It's a little bit sort of commercial, what I'm sort of saying here. It's just from the top of my head. They really did well in the Avengers Endgame. Really, I thought that was a very dramatic closing. It was very intricate, and I think they can connect to Taika Waititi the best, as they've had similar type of movies in the Marvel universe and connecting as well. At this stage, that's what I would like to see, is the Russo brothers, who did Endgame, that's Avengers Endgame, take out the last 2 episodes of this next 3 movies to come. So it's all these numbers, all these years. It's a bit confusing, but it's pretty straightforward. Anyway, so that is the answer. It's the Russo brothers for the movie 2, movie 3, and we've got so far movie 1, which is Taika Waititi. Anyway, that's the interviews for this time around. I'm here on a weekly basis with the Star Wars news, views, reviews, and interviews. Subscribe to the channel. The Force Always only on YouTube. You can message me via the YouTube or possibly Instagram or even Twitter. My information is just down there. And until next time, my friends, keep rocking.